Hello, so today we're going to be doing the one-click flare technique. Now, it's probably quite important to have really gotten quite tight with transforms before you get into flaring, because I think it's advantageous to have the experience of really honing that tight rhythm, because you need that rhythm for flares as well, because you have to be accurate. And if you want to get faster with flares, it's important to have a very continual record motion to have that down. So with transforms, we made, say, if we wanted to get 4 sounds, then we had to click 4 times. With flaring, now the advantage of flaring is that we can get 4 sounds, and we can only use 2 clicks to get those 4 sounds. Transforming would be one-click flare would be. So yeah, if you notice on the fader, I was doing 2 clicks, and the way that I did that is that I started in the open position instead of a transform closed position, open position, and then clicking close and then open. But yeah, so the one-click flare, we get those 4 sounds by this method. So what we're doing is we're going forward and then closing the fader, then opening the fader halfway through the forward motion, and then we're reversing and then closing the fader and opening the fader halfway through the reverse motion. So yep, and then reverse and do the same. So it started open, it ended open. It's one of the ways you kind of know that you're doing it correctly, is that the fader starts open, it ends open, it loops with itself. There's only 2 clicks, and the clicks are halfway through the record motions. Now it'll feel a little strange if you're not very experienced with flares, and if you're very kind of experienced with transforms, because obviously transform, you're really used to kind of having the thumb with that pressure on the fader and you're tapping it open. With the flare, you're starting in an open position and you're not using so much force. You're really just kind of closing with the thumb or with the wrist. Yeah. So I mean, you'll get used to it after a while anyway. It's just a matter of practice. But so some variations of one-click flares that you can do. If we think of a one-click flare, it has 4 sounds, and it's from 2 clicks. Now, a simple variation of a one-click flare would be to maybe take one of those clicks away, and then what have you got? Say. So what was going on then is that I'm just clicking on the forward part of the flare, and then I leave the fader open and I'm just pulling back, and that would be, I guess, a forward half one-click flare. And and I guess and then you can do the opposite of that. So say you take another one of the clicks away and have the other click there. So we had a click on the forward part of the flare, but now we have no click on the forward part and 1 click on the reverse. So yeah, the difference between them. So yeah, you're getting kind of you're getting simple variations from just taking clicks away at different points. And the advantage of doing this is that, say, when it comes to learning stuff like chart flares, then you can mix those chart flares up much more easily. You can create variations of chart flares just from taking clicks away. So, I mean, it avoids doing things like really fast chirp flare motions that are just a row of chirp flares and nothing else with hardly any variation. Instead you can do things like a chirp flare, then a chirp half forward flare, and then a chirp half reverse flare, and then a chirp flare again, and then or you're mixing it up more. Basically, you're adding variation, which hopefully adds to the musicality of what you're doing. So. Yeah. So, like, we have two variations just from taking clicks away and rearranging them. And, I mean, we can do things like putting tears underneath the flare as well. Yeah, I mean, you could put clover tears, you could put forward tears, reverse tears underneath a flare to give them to alter the characteristics of it. So I'll do a forward tear underneath a normal one-click flare. As opposed to the normal flare. So yeah, at the points of the tear section, the pause halfway through the motion, the record motion, that's when you want to be doing the clicks. Yeah, I mean, and then there's the reverse of that, so you can do a reverse tear and kind of carry on with the normal one-click flare pattern. So. Yeah, and then there's, I mean, you can put clover tears over flares to get, like, I don't know, it's, you can get more pitch variation with clover tears under a flare, and sometimes you get more of a wavy sound as well. So a normal flare, row of flares, and then flares with clover tears underneath them. So yeah, I'm doing this motion underneath those clips. Yeah, there's not a huge change in the sound, but the advantage of doing this is that, I mean, you can do variations, like you do a clover tear with the flare clicks, and then you you do a clover tear, like continual clover tears, and you can do sort of a flare and then keep the fader open, so then you're hearing some of the clover tears on their own. So it sounds like this, basically. Yeah, I mean, they're simple variations as well. Well, once you have those kind of clover tears, they're simple. But yeah, it's just kind of a way of changing your phrasing and adding variation. So yeah, I mean, all of the the tear patterns we did then, the click is on the pause sections of the tear, but we can also do a set of combos that it's quite a large range of combos where the tear isn't on the click, and I call those tangent flares because they're not at the same point. They're in tangent to each other. So say like one thing that I do sometimes is I'll do a tear, a forward tear, and the flare click will be after the pause on the tear. So I guess it's easier to show you than to just waffle on about it. But so what's going on there is that if you think of I'm doing the tear pause, and then I'm allowing it to play forward, and then I'm doing the flare click, and then I'm reversing, and then doing what you would normally do in a flare, the click halfway through and the reverse. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so you're getting 5 sounds from the pattern by doing it in this way, rather than 4 sounds that you would normally get. So it kind of changes the rhythm of the scratch, because you're emphasising the tear by giving it its own little area. And yeah, you can do. I mean, you can have the click first and then the tear. So you have like there. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of variations you can get from them. The one that I'm most used to is the first one I described. The second one it gets a bit iffy. But yeah, I mean, there's, oh god, what else can we? I guess right. I'll cut it short. But the last combo. I guess yeah, you can do things like, instead of a tear, you can do a baby. So we're doing a baby, and then we're doing a flare click, and then we can do things like a reverse baby, and then a reverse, which would have a normal flare in it. So we're doing a baby, a flare click, a reverse baby. Start that again. So that was a baby, and then the 2 sounds from a flare, and then 1, 2 for the baby, and then reverse and click. And what we're doing there, I guess you could call it a mirror pattern, involving babies and flares. But yeah, you can get quite a lot of different timing with that. So yeah, that's the record motion. And whenever you're doing that long forward or long reverse is when you do the click. So yeah, I mean there really is a very, very large range of variations you can get with tangent flares, with these sorts of baby patterns, and yeah, I'll leave it up to you to kind of explore that area. Yeah, okay, thanks, bye.